right. Welcome to the Gig Economy Podcast, episode 205. Your eyes are not deceiving you. Neither one of us is Jason. He has the night off tonight. So you're stuck with the dynamic duo of Gabe and Larry. So Gabe, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing much better. After the show last week, I was not feeling well. So I took a test and I was positive for COVID. So I was down for the count all weekend, but didn't do much at all. I think I watched the entire last season of Better Call Saul and the first 5 Harry Potter movies. So that was my weekend.
Sounds like a pretty damn good weekend.
It was pretty dang good. So tonight we're going to be talking about Uber getting fined for banning a driver. Crypto ads are coming to your Lyft app, and Congress is investigating surge pricing. So we just want to thank you guys for tuning into the show. You can go to the gigeconomyshow.com to sign up for our newsletter for anything gig economy podcast related. And we also want to thank our Patreon members. That would be Samson from Grand Rapids, Bud Dickman from North Carolina, Omar from Detroit, Delivery Cats from Michigan, Jamie from Tennessee, Frank from Philly, Tom from Chicago, Jim from Connecticut, Tom from Houston, and Miguel from Grand Rapids. We want to thank you guys so much. We really appreciate all our patrons. The money that you donate to our Patreon goes to pay for the cost of producing the show. It helps us out tremendously. If you want to join the Patreon and hold on, I've got the wrong slide up. If you want to join the Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/the Gig Economy Podcast, or just go to patreon.com and search for the Gig Economy Podcast. The $5 tier will get you access to the pre-show banter, and the $10 tier will get you an extra podcast each month, a t-shirt. You get early access to interviews and special shows, ad-free episodes, and access to the pre-show banner as well. You can also do a free 7-day trial to try it out, see if you like it. And if you don't, you can just cancel it and you won't pay anything at all. But we really think you're going to like it if you try it. So we also have a fantastic Telegram group where we can chat with each other. Gabe, you want to tell them a little bit about our Telegram group and how much fun we have in there?
Oh man, we have a hoot. It's really good, especially if you're out driving and if you don't know a lot of drivers in your area or gig workers. We have people from all over the world can go in and we just chat about our day, or if we have questions about something new that we've seen and we don't know if other people have seen it, or we'll just tell our stories of customers that we've had. Sometimes we just shoot the shit and it's not gig related, which is nice, because there's people and you're able to banter. And sometimes it can get real lively and it's a good way to meet people. And I think a good chunk of them have come to the picnic.
Exactly. So yeah, that was a great segue because that's what I'm talking about next. We want to invite everybody to our 6th annual Gig Economy Podcast Picnic. It's going to be coming up on Saturday, September 14th from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to have food. We're going to have a lot of fun. We'll have giveaways. Some lucky person will actually walk away with their very own thirsty goose. I mean, that alone is reason enough to come to the picnic. We have a lot of fun. It's a great time to get together, see old friends and make some new friends. Everything's free. There's no charge. We definitely want to invite everyone to come. I always come up from Kentucky. Gabe comes over from, where is it exactly that you?
Ann Arbor.
Yeah. I never remember it's Ann Arbor or Ypsilanti I know you're over in that area.
Right there.
Yeah. So John comes up from North Carolina. Last year we had Frank and his mom come over from Philly. Tom came over from Chicago, and our good friend Janet came all the way from New Zealand to come to the picnic. So you have no excuse. I don't think anybody that's listening is further away than Janet, and she made the trip and she had a good time. So definitely want to invite everybody to come. We have a great time. It's just a lot of fun and to get together and hang out with other gig workers.
Oh yeah, we had a blast last time.
We did. We always do, for sure. And again, this is the 6th annual one. I've been to all of them except for one, I think.
I've been to all of them except for one.
Yeah. I missed one. I think it was like maybe during COVID. I can't remember. Anyway, time for some stories on the road. I really don't have any stories. As I said, I was recovering from COVID, so I did not drive this weekend. Drove a little bit on Monday and Tuesday, but didn't have anything really to speak of. What about you, Gabe? You got any stories for us this week?
I did a lot of deliveries. I didn't do a lot of rides, just because it's slow right now,
Sure.
until next month. But definitely, I've been stepping up my meme game in my deliveries.
Yeah.
Because you see them all the time when you're in all these different groups on Facebook. And
Sure.
I had this one guy. He was like, "Dude," he was like, "that was hilarious." He was like, I was like, "Thanks." And he was like, "I freaking loved it." And I was like, "Okay, I got to do this more." And then one guy, he was like, "Do you take cash tips?" And I was like, "Does cash money spend?" Like,
dang right. We take cash tips all day, every day.
So yeah. Janet, my story about the popcorn. Oh. But yeah, no, just, delivery, it's hit and miss. Some days are heavier than others, but I see all these posts about people that have rude customers that they deliver to.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had one, I think, the whole time I've been shopping. So there's nothing too exciting. People are usually nice and they say thank you and they appreciate you. And so, yeah, nothing crazy on my end.
That's awesome. Yeah. Doing food delivery. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've really had any bad customer experiences. Well, maybe one, he put in the wrong address and I had already delivered, there's no contact, the height of COVID. And I delivered it there, and then he called me a couple minutes later complaining about his food's not there. And I'm like, well, this address I brought it to, but that's not where I live. Well, that's what was in the app. So, you need to come back and bring it to me. And I'm like, dude, I'm already like 10 minutes of the way heading to another delivery. That's not going to happen. Sorry.
Yeah. I did have one crazy one. I had a Meyer DoorDash that popped up and like, it was quick. It was like 2 things and you can see the store and then the line to where they were. And I'm like, oh shit, it's like a couple minutes down the road. This will be awesome. I accept it. I pull into the parking lot. I start and he's like, you see my address, right? No, it was on Uber. So I was like, yeah, you're right down the street from the store. Give me a couple minutes, grab the alcohol you need. I'll check out. I'll be on my way. And he was like, no, this is my address. And he's in Pennsylvania.
Oh, dude.
And so I'm like, well, I contact support and support's like, well, they're like, are you willing to take it there? And I like put it in my GPS. I'm like, that's 7.5 hours. I'm like, his alcohol will not be cold. And no, I'm not going there for like $11. That's not happening.
Not unless you put like 3 zeros on the end of that. Then I'll think about it. Yeah.
So
that's crazy how that happens.
I don't know. I don't know how
it.
I don't know how it glitched out or what, but it's always funny because I even said it when I was on the phone. I'm like, yeah, they're in a different state. And then, she's like, so are you willing to make the delivery? And I'm like, what?
No.
No, I'm not going to Pennsylvania for 2 4-packs of beer, pop some Heinekens. No.
Yeah. That was my story of the week last week. Story from the road. I got a call and I won't rehash the whole thing, but these 2 girls I was supposed to pick up who were very drunk. We're supposed to eat at a bar, and I'm parked in front of the bar waiting for them. And it took about 5 minutes for us to go through back and forth messages and calling each other to figure out they were in Cookeville, Tennessee, which is like 2 hours and 15 minutes away. And I'm like, no, sorry, not coming.
I've ordered rides and I see the screen.
Yeah.
And it will ask you, I know, like it asked me if the ride is for me because I seem far away from the pickup. So I don't understand how people get that far.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it just starts autofilling and they just hit the first thing that happens, or some kind of technical glitch. I know I had some people one night, that's what he's picking up. It was on St. Patty's Day and got out in the country where they were supposed to be. And there was the road that they put in, but the address they put in there was no address of that number. And finally called them and they were in Cincinnati next to the Cincinnati Reds baseball stadium. I'm like, oh, sorry, that's like 4.5 hours. I don't think I'm going to make that trip either.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. I gotta love it. Okay, let's talk about 616 Locksmith with Matt. Matt, he's a locksmith, does a really great job. You can call him at 616-914-3487. You can call or text him. Check out his links in the show description to get in touch to his Facebook or Google page. He'll take care of all your locksmith needs. He can rekey your house or your car or reprogram your car, get you a new fob. It's very affordable, and Jason will vouch for his work. Jason had some trouble with his old Honda Pilot. He had a key go bad, and Matt fixed him right up. So be sure and check him out for any of your locksmith needs. Make sure to tell him you heard about him on the Gig Economy podcast. And we also want to mention Levi over at Tip You in the App. He does some really good work on YouTube. His channel's very well done. His videos are always put together very well, and he has some great content. He puts out some longer form videos and then some shorts out there as well. But I think be sure and check him out, like and subscribe on his channel for some really great content as well. All right. What do we got going first here, Gabe? All right. So the first thing I want to talk about in the gig economy news, I'm going to talk about a story when Uber got fined, had to pay a driver over in Sydney, Australia, $10,000 because they banned him. So they can ban me if they want to pay me $10,000. That'd be great. Apparently, they were ordered to pay $10,000 in damages to an Australian driver after they permanently banned him from working due to a passenger complaint, but they failed to gather any evidence that he had done anything wrong. Said the ruling came from the New South Wales Civil and Administrative Tribunal related to Uber's conduct, where they terminated the driver's account after a trip. Female passenger alleged that the driver told her she was beautiful and asked her about her marital status. The driver denied this, claiming she had only lodged a complaint after he had refused her demand to speed up during their trip to the airport and was unhappy with the low rating he had subsequently given her. Now, listen, this is the part that gets me. The driver had been employed as an independent contractor, which Uber calls a driver partner. He drove full-time for Uber, earning about $212,000, including tips, in the year before he was terminated. $212,000. I wonder what that is in American dollars. I wonder if there's some kind of big exchange rate that makes that sound way better than it does.
I don't know. You said 200 and what?
$212,000. That's what it says, including
he's from Australia?
Yes. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But he had gold. This is weird. Said gold diamond average rating of 4.98 stars from his 19,956 trips over 2.5 years. So he was getting it. He was getting it. But anyway, we all read stories about people getting deactivated for no reason, because it does happen. You do get passengers that they get mad at you for something. You're not willing to go through McDonald's drive-through at 2 a.m. when it's backed up. It's going to take you 30 minutes to get there. They get pissed. They give you a bad rating. They contact Uber and say, hey, my driver was under the influence, or, my driver was swerving, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that they actually find them over there.
It's $139,000 US.
But
that's a lot.
That's not bad. I mean, but apparently, he did almost 20,000 rides in 2 years. He was getting it.
Well, that's the sad thing, that there is there is nothing to protect the driver from passengers making false statements.
Right.
You have to go to bat for yourself. You have to have a camera, even though they get plenty of complaints with people saying they didn't get their food, or they didn't get this, or they didn't get that, and now they pop up with, you have to have a PIN, or a signature, because they've either had complaints or it's an extra security that the customers put on. But it still happens all the time, and people are just, they're done with you if they choose to be. I know that's the risk you take being an independent contractor, but still, I feel like, you should be on there. I've had one complaint in 8 years that said I was under the influence, and I was like, no.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I may have had one, and I mean, I've had like one. I think I've had one shot and one beer in like the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think that's happening. But yeah, it's always the matter of how can you prove that you weren't doing what somebody said you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what the complaint was, especially if it doesn't come back to you like for a day or two.
Yeah.
Like,
And
well,
they
how
won't
can I
tell you.
prove? Yeah,
Right. And they don't tell you the exact. They'll
right.
say on this day.
Yeah, they won't tell you the ride.
Yeah. And so you're like, okay, how many hours of footage do you want?
Exactly. How can I defend myself against that?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. But anyway, so maybe we'll see something like that over here where they get fined and have to kind of start at least investigating a little bit.
Yeah.
That'd be nice anyway. All right, moving on. Let's go. This is we'll show this video real quick and then we'll discuss it. But this is a video of a food delivery driver that it's just kind of throwing a tantrum a little bit.
Exactly.
DoorDash driver acting childish cause his customer's order wasn't ready when he got there.
So for the people who listen to the audio version of the podcast, this is a DoorDash driver who came to the restaurant. His order was not ready and he was not happy about that. Yeah. So this guy starts moving chairs from the tables just up in front of the counter. Just puts, I don't know how many chairs he had up there, but just kept moving chairs up there. I mean, acting like a little kid, like they said on the video. What's your thoughts on that, Gabe?
They should have banned him from that restaurant, honestly. There are restaurants that do that, and they should hold drivers accountable, or just unassign it, or if you waited too long, it pops up and asks you if you want to unsign it without taking a hit, especially, to go to all of that trouble. When drivers do that, it makes things look really bad for other drivers.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, that people feel so entitled.
I don't even understand what he's hoping to accomplish.
It's just being a pain in the ass.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much I don't know what else you can really say about it. I mean, that's all he's doing. And it's like I said, really acting like a little kid, just putting chairs in the way. So somebody from the restaurant's going to have to come out and move those around and instead of doing their job. So somebody else's order's not going to be ready when they get there. So,
well, I think the mentality behind it is he's going to inconvenience them because he feels he was inconvenienced.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying that's okay. Not at all. He should get banned. Hopefully. I wish some restaurants would do that right through their tablet. Although I've learned that some, it automatically comes in through their system, and prints, some of them don't have access to the tablets to go on there and do that.
Right. Yeah. If you're going to be upset every time you come in to pick up food as a food delivery person, if you're going to get upset every time you get there and it's not ready, you're going to have a stressed out life because I know they're much better. They seem to me better now than it was when I first started doing it, which was of course during the pandemic, like a lot of people. It used to be all the time you get there and have to wait. I don't know if they started waiting later to assign the orders or something, but it seems like they adjusted things over the years where the little that I do food delivery, the orders are generally ready when I get there.
Well, yeah, on DoorDash, I know it asks at the bottom, while you're waiting, tell us what's happening. And you can put on there. And if I'm waiting, I'll put, order still being worked on or order not started yet, depending on how long they tell me it's going to take. So I do use that. I feel like drivers should use that because in the long, scheme of things, it's going to help you eventually so that, they know when to send people. But, some drivers, instead of just being professional about it and doing what they need to do, they throw tantrums like that.
Yeah. Like I said, it's not a gig you need to be doing if you're going to get upset over something that small. I just really don't understand it. So anyway, next we're going to talk about, I should put this picture up, and I think this was on maybe Reddit. They were talking about how bad this dash camera is. And apparently it's a dash cam that Uber sends you if you partner with them. I know a lot of us got emails over the last couple of years asking us to partner with Uber with their dash cam, and they would send it send you a free dash cam to put it up. But from what this article says, you can't access the videos yourself. You have to like send in a request just to see, any video. And they also put on here the fan is they put fan's so damn loud. So,
well, it's not free either. I think they charge you like $5.
It's a subscription.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
Yeah, I think for like a year, you end up paying like $60 for the damn thing.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, and I've driven 7 years now. Yeah. I think you've been doing 8, maybe
8.
Yeah, I was much better off just buying my own dash cam. You get what you want. You can access the videos anytime you want. It gives you a lot more flexibility. And like we talked kind of in the pre-show, if it's something that Uber is offering, I mean, you just know it's going to be mucked up.
Yeah, and that gets them in surplus to hand out to thousands of drivers. The quality we have to know is not going to be that good.
Yeah, I think you get that feeling whenever you hear it's something that's that they're offering. It's just usually not the best. But anyway, moving on. We'll play another video clip. This one's a little bit longer, but it's kind of fun. This is an Uber driver down in Tampa that's kind of made her own niche and kind of got a following now.
Times are talkative when you would prefer silence.
Yes.
Other times, just awkward. Of course, we're talking about Uber rides.
Yes, we are. And there is one local driver who is actually hitting all the right notes with her customers. And our Mark Wilson shows us how she has got millions following along online.
Where they at? Where they at? Where they at? That's what I say when I'm looking for people. If you want to go and take a ride with me, If
you're waiting on your Uber and Linda Swan pulls up.
Hey, must be the money.
You better have your pipes warmed up. The 63-year-old retired lab technician has made a name for herself on TikTok.
I'm an Uber driver with a twist.
Racking up millions of views with her Tampa-based rideshare karaoke setup.
Well, I started it just for kicks and giggles, just to make a little extra money. I love people, and I knew that we weren't going to agree on religion or politics, but music is a uniter. Music, it touches everybody's soul.
Linda unabashedly puts herself out there for her riders.
I don't know how I get people to sing. I guess people just feel comfortable. They just feel comfortable.
Comfortable indeed.
And love is all that I can give to you.
I'm not bragging and I'm not tooting my own horn, but toot. 9 out of 10 people will say, that was the best Uber ride.
Linda's a big country and R&B fan.
Like, I'm going to see Nelly and Janet Jackson next week.
But there's no discrimination when it comes to genre in her car.
I have to be accepting to that. And I've even had girls in here, they put on the most foul music. One time I pulled over, I said, I'm going to have to ask Jesus to take the wheel. I said, girls, I'm going to pray for you, all the songs, the lyrics. But I believe that everybody has to express themselves in their own way.
And while TikTok has spread her joy to millions of viewers online, Linda's just hoping she's the high note in her customer's day.
I just get giddy inside when I get to make people laugh and make memories for, like, a father and a son. I picked them up the other night from a ball game, and they were back there rock and rolling, and he said that was the best 20 minutes since they were on vacation.
You turned my life around.
Listen, we never know what kind of rocks are in someone else's shoes, right? So when somebody gets in here, I try to just leave them better than I found them. And if music is what does it, then you know what? I've accomplished it.
Props?
All right.
I wish I had her as a driver. Shit.
Man, I would do too. I think that's awesome.
It's funny because the last couple of months I've been seeing her videos pop up, and I'm like, oh, that is clever.
Yeah, I've heard of Uber karaoke's before, and I've seen maybe a clip or two of different ones. Maybe one in Vegas, I think. But this is really the first time I've seen her video. But I bet she just always she looks like she's one of those people. She's always probably in a good mood. She's got a really peppy, energetic personality, and she just likes to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, and I can imagine it's enjoyable for her, and it's enjoyable, for her riders. I feel like there was a guy that had a van who had lights and everything, and he had a karaoke machine in his car, but I think he got in trouble because he was doing it live. I don't know. You've done it with your lifting, your pictures. Do you have to get them to sign something?
For pictures? No, I don't have them sign anything. No. Yeah. And I mean, most of them nowadays are asking me to be on it. I don't have to ask them, but I remember that was something we questioned when we were doing our YouTube videos, even though a lot of times we would kind of blank out their faces. That was kind of a gray area, whether you needed to get a signed consent form or something, or you could just have them, whether it was enough to have them say on the video, "Hey, I consent to this being, published," because a lot of our people were 3 sheets to the wind. Do they really have, they have the legal ability to give consent, at that point when they're drunk off their ass?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I think she's great. Like I said, I've came across her a couple months ago, and I'll be honest, I got sucked in and I just kept watching and watching and watching. And I was like, damn,
I would love to have her as a driver and kind of just pick her brain a little bit and see how her setup is and how difficult it is. I would do something like that. I think that would be fun to try, because I mean, often enough, even without any kind of karaoke equipment, these college kids are back there singing their heads off anyway, or asking for aux cord so they can play their particular music on the 3-minute ride that we're going to be on. But karaoke would be fun.
Maybe you guys should reach out and see if you can get her as a guest.
That would be fun. Hey, that's
if you're listening, Jason, make it work.
Hey, we will. Hey, I'll write it down. I'll type it in. Yeah, I don't mind getting in touch with her. You never know. I mean, I think if I was doing something like that, I would enjoy being asked to be on somebody's show. So, we'll reach out to her. That'd be fun to have her on and kind of hear her whole backstory. And like I said, I'm interested in kind of what the equipment setup is and maintenance on it and things like that. But yeah, I bet she is a very, very fun driver to have. Our next story, we're going to talk about a DoorDash customer who says she is never not tipping again. She says not tipping backfired in a very big way. This user, Caitlin, posted a video about 4 days ago that has racked up a bunch of views on TikTok. Said she's walking outside with a bag of takeout food. And in the text relay, she wrote, "Never not tipping on DoorDash again. This was the very first time that I did not tip. And the DoorDasher left it so far away in the corner, making me play hide and seek with my poke. It took me 20 minutes to find it. And when I finally got to it, the fish was cooked. I ordered raw salmon." So it says in the video's caption, she says, "I always tip, but it was the very first time I didn't." And some of the people in her comments said, "Hey, I would file a complaint with DoorDash and get your money back," which, I can understand, because if you take the delivery, it doesn't have a tip, don't try to get retribution with the customer, because you took it knowing. That's on the dasher. But as we mentioned before on the show many, many, many times, in food delivery, your tip is really a bid for service. It's really a bid for how fast you want to get your food.
Yep.
I know people are used to tipping afterwards, and that's kind of the way, everything else works, but it's a little different animal in food delivery.
Honestly, if it's like, I have my breaking line, right? Where it has to be that amount or higher if I'm going to do it. I know under $6 or $6.50 that they're not hiding the tip possibly, and what you see is what you're going to get. And if you want to do it, I saw a delivery the other day for like $2, and I was like, I'm like, nope, there's no way.
Yeah, it is sad. I mean, I know back in the day, I should take almost everything just because even rideshare wise, just because, it's just not as big a market here. And so if I start declining a bunch of rides, I'm not going to have anything to do.
Yeah.
But I've gotten it with if it's a 2-minute ride and I'm, 6 minutes away, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it to make my wheels move for that, especially the price of gas keeps going up.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk a little bit about the Octopus tablet. We highly recommend the Octopus tablet. If you partner up with them, they will send you a free tablet. They do all the programming for it. They sell all the advertising on it. All you have to do is hook it up in your car, plug it in. You really don't have to do much of anything after that. They will pay you to have it in your car. You can make, especially if you're a full-time driver, up to about $100 a month. Depends on how many rides you do and how many games people play. But they do really good programming. They keep the content very current. They just did a pretty big redesign on the content. They redid the way the driver's profile was, added some kind of a better weather screen on there so people can check out the weather. They can check out news and sports. They can play music. They can't play any song they want to, but it gives them kind of an option of what mood they're in and gives them a choice of songs to do with that. But anyway, it's like I said, it's free. It's free money for you as a driver. If something breaks on it, you just contact Octopus. They'll send you a new cord or a new tablet, whatever it is you need. Never any charge for you. They have a lot of contests for drivers. They'll give away $100, $500. Jason actually won $1,000 from them last year. So, that's really cool. Just for having this tablet in your car. So, check them out. Again, that's the Octopus tablet. All right, Gabe, you want to talk a little bit about how many people are doing gig work these days?
So they did a survey, and that more than 1 in 3 Americans are doing a side hustle. They're earning money, and that 32% think that they'll always need to do a side hustle to, pay their day-to-day expenses or, their extra. It's interesting because it's gone, what they say that the average side hustler says that they make about $891 on average per month in extra income, aside from their main source of income. And that's up, I think, like $80 more than what it was last year. And they were saying that they did this whole survey. It says like 37% of side hustlers agree that they use at least some of their side hustle income to fund discretionary spending. 36% use at least some to pay for regular living expenses, or 20% of them to pay down debt. So there's a lot of hustlers out there doing gig work. And I think we all know that, for the ones of us that are out there,
Right.
Some nights where, back in the day where we were busy nonstop and it was like order after order and you had like a plethora to choose from and you're like, yeah, I'm making the money. And now you're like, damn, I'm sitting here for like 20 minutes without anything.
Yeah, and that's because there's so many other people out there doing the work nowadays. I know here there's been a huge influx of people doing rideshare, doing food delivery. You see it, just all over the place now.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting now with the Lyft app. Generally the only way we would always try to find a good spot, which is in a busy area of town, but you're not sitting in between, 3 or 4 other drivers where you're not going to get a ping. So the only way we could see that would be to open up the passenger app, and it would show you like the 6 or 8 closest cars, and that was all it would show you. So you really had no idea how many other drivers. But now the Lyft app, it has a function where you can, see the other drivers in your area. And for here, it shows me, I know there's a lot of times when I'll, log in and it'll show me, 15 or 20, which I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but for Bowling Green during the day,
it's a lot.
That's a lot. And I've seen some pictures on some of the user groups where there's it's just like a big white blob of cars in, some metro areas. So,
Well, it's the same way with shopping too.
yeah.
You know, like Instacart. Just in this past week, I've probably seen 15 new shoppers that I've never
Really?
seen before. Either they came from a different market, or you know, they're new because they put those incentives out there for new people. And like I even verified now, like it's the first 20. They get 20 guaranteed good orders when they shop.
Really?
Like sign up, yeah.
Oh,
And then
wow.
after that, you know, if they've kept their cancellation rate down and they've, you know, kept their rating up, then of course they can see certain orders. But, you know, they definitely go to the new people and get them the incentives to make them excited, right? To be like, yeah, I just made this much money. And then they go out, and then, you know, you have these seasoned shoppers like myself, and we're just like, damn, like where the hell are all these orders at?
Yeah. Sure.
So
I was glad. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but there's more people, you know.
Yeah.
Think about it, 1 out of every 3 people are doing a side gig.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I certainly believe it. I see it all over the place. I was just glad to see finally the other day in my Lyft app, it's got the little notification thing up in the upper right corner. You can click on and it shows you different messages, you know, that they send you. And they had finally dropped down the sign-on bonus to $150 for referring a new driver. There for a long time, it was $1,500 they were offering if you refer another driver.
yeah.
And they do so many rides, you know, in the first 2 to 3 months or something like that.
Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago. I don't normally certain apps I will give referrals. But I remember Lyft, I did take advantage of it. It was like $750. I got 2 of them.
Yeah.
But I knew that people would do it, you know, but that was 6 years ago when rides were, you know, you heard Pete.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, Jason and all of us talking about how crazy busy it was. And, you know, so it was different then, but now it's just, there's too many people.
Yeah. I was always like so jealous of how busy y'all could stay. You know, it would have to be a very, you know, special occasion night for it to be that busy here, whether it, you know, maybe homecoming, St. Patrick's Day, New Year's Eve, you know, a couple of nights like that out of the year that I could, you know, where you're just getting, as soon as you pick somebody else up there, you get a ping to queue up another ride, you know, and it's like that just for hours upon end. But those nights those were fun, man. We were, you know, it was hard to even have time to talk on the channel. We try to get in there, you know, as soon as we drop somebody off, maybe shout out a quick message before you pick the next person up. But those days, I remember there were some just wild and woolly nights, man. When things were just happening fast.
Oh yeah, like even like DoorDash, you know, it'd be like $3, you know, extra, you know, per order, $5.
Yeah,
there were times that I could go for 5 hours and just $5 extra per order.
That adds up too. Yeah, that adds up. Yeah, I'm looking forward when during, you know, the university's in session, Uber will put a $3 bonus. They've got a circle that goes from downtown and goes down and includes campus. So if you pick up any rides in that area, you get an extra $3. It's like Friday and Saturday nights from like, I don't know, 6:00 at night till maybe 3 in the morning, I think it is. So it's so funny there. It started out, it was like originally like $12. They would give you extra $12.
Right.
And then like went a few months and went down to 9, and then went down to 6, and now it's down to 3. So I'm like, and then they shut it off. And like, as soon as school gets out, man, it's gone.
Yeah.
So you don't see it all summer. So
yeah. Same here.
I'm interested it even comes back this year. You know, it keeps going down. So I'm like, I don't even know if they'll bring it back this year.
But you know what was interesting? I did just, you know, talking about that zone, because we would have that little zone, you know, for that hour. Yeah. At certain points, like when it was busy, there was no surge, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they would pay you a little bit extra besides that $3, where they'd be like, you know, your fare increased because of, you know, whatever. And then when that dropped off at the end of the school year, then I started seeing surge zones. And I was like, is this like they're obviously charging for the surge. They're just not showing us it's surging because they're giving us that $350 extra per ride.
Yeah. Yeah. Just another one of their little nefarious ways of taking more money.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this video, it's a little short video, about 30 seconds, but this is what you hope your Amazon driver does not do. Yeah, that is not good. This dude in a big old Amazon van, not the small ones.
No.
Not the small van. This is a big Amazon truck. Backs into these people's driveway, backs right into their garage, pulls up a little bit. Something falls. I don't know if that was his camera on the back of the van that fell off. Did you see that fall off?
Yeah, it's part of the van.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
was a big black object on the van. I don't know if it was a camera or what it was, but he just pulls out in the street and he takes off, and you see the garage door raise up, and lady comes out, and she's like, "What the fuck just happened?"
I was sitting there. I was like, I would have said the same damn thing.
Yeah, I could see on your face. It's like, oh, he hadn't seen this video yet.
I was like, damn. Yeah.
I mean, and that driver's got to know everybody has doorbell cameras. Somebody's good. They're going to be able to identify you somehow, and you're going to lose your job.
Well, I think on those new, because that's their newest van, they have cameras, backup cameras and sensors. So you know the damn thing was going off. But
yeah, I mean,
obviously they didn't care. They didn't care.
He didn't care, or he had some earbuds in or something. Because man, he didn't. He didn't just tap it. He hit a pretty good lick on that garage door.
Yeah, it's funny. She comes out. She's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, and he just pulled off. He was like halfway down the street by then. He was just on his merry way.
License plates on camera, like,
oh yeah, everything. Now you know that you're going to lose your job. I mean, it's much better to stop and say, hey, I messed up for whatever reason. I misjudged things. I backed up into your door. But just to drive off like it didn't happen and think it's just going to go away.
That reminds me, a couple of years ago, I'm trying to think who it was. Was it Polka? I'm not sure. I think she was doing an Amazon route, Amazon Flex, and she backed up and hit this guy's wood pile, and it all just
down. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And she
was she freaking out?
She was. She like wrote and was like, emailed them and let them know. But
goodness. Well, stuff like that happens. It just does.
One to drive off too. Like, he knew he hit it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's no way you cannot. That was not quiet.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. He felt that for sure. I backed up into a car. I dropped a passenger off one night, and there was a car parked on the street right opposite their driveway. And I backed up and tapped it. Luckily, I saw it and hit my brakes, but I still tapped it. But it was like 11 o'clock at night, so you don't want to wake people up. So there was a light on the patio, so I went up and kind of knocked lightly on the door. Nobody answered, so I came back the next morning and knocked on the door, and this kid, he was probably like 23, 24, he was just waking up, and came out, and I told him what happened, and he's like, hey, this is what happened, whatever, I'll take care of the damages. He's like, I mean, I just appreciate you coming by. He's like, some guy hit it last week and they didn't even stop. And he looked at it and he's like, nah, I can't even tell you hit it. He's like, don't worry about it.
Nice. That's a solid, Larry.
Yeah.
'Cause not a lot of people do that. It happens all the damn time. And even shopping, I had somebody that looked like they bumped into my Jeep.
Yeah.
And like, it was just a little buff spot on the bumper, but still, like, people don't leave notes. You do see people that sometimes will leave a note like, so sorry, here's my information,
Right.
And I always am thankful that people do that. They have a good conscience and let people know.
Yeah, I just to drive off like that, especially in a
work vehicle.
I mean, you're going to lose your job, and you're probably going to end up having to pay for the damage. But,
drug test.
Yes, no doubt. Okay. Anyway, this next one, I probably should have changed this and assigned this one to me. I sent this one in, but I don't know if you've seen this before. talk about this a little bit. It just came over my Lyft app the other day. I know on the blog it said it came out in like April or May. But you want to talk a little bit about Lyft?
So
more transparent with us.
Yeah, so this popped up this week for me, where it will tell you on your acceptance screen what your estimated per mile is, or if you use kilometer, the country you live in, and it will tell you what you're going to make per mile, so that you can see, it gives you a better breakdown. I don't know. I like it. And honestly, to me, it doesn't really matter, I guess, because sometimes there's traffic and you get stuck, but if you have like where you're shooting a per hour, the only thing is it's for that ride. So, which is great. But if you're in a slow area, it doesn't do much if you have an average per hour that you're trying to keep up with.
Right. And what I like about here on the screen, for a limited time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to do this for like just a little bit. I don't know why you would not implement that and just, if it's good, if it's being transparent, why is it just for a limited time? Why not always?
Well, they probably started it in May, tested it out, like they do with certain features. Like, I don't know, I was part of like the beta program where I would get certain things before other drivers, and they probably want to see if it changes how many drivers are accepting stuff. Because I feel like there's a lot of rides, you see them in the group all the time where they're like, they sent this to me 3 times and I declined it. And then I was on Uber and then they sent me it and this is what they were offering. So I feel like they're trying to get drivers to be like, oh, it's not that bad. Like Jason has a rule for DoorDash, $1 per, I think it was $1 per mile is what he goes for. So they're probably thinking with that mentality, maybe drivers are like that too.
Yeah, it's funny though, because it even says in there though, it may be different. This may not actually be what's you're gonna make. That's the part that gets to me. I can't remember if it showed it in that photo or not.
Well, yeah, it does. It says that it isn't a guarantee of your actual earnings per mile.
But this we're going to tell you what we're going to tell you you're going to make. So you'll take the ride, and then after you've done the ride, we're like, no, we were just kidding. We're just joking.
Well, really. I feel like sometimes when you get the ride right and it tells you how far, time, and distance, and then when you start the trip, like I've had one where I'm like, what the hell? Like, why is this longer?
It's consistently longer. Longer. The pickup, it'll say 6 minutes away, and then you start, your GPS, and it's 8 minutes away. Yeah, I see that. It's rarely ever is it shorter.
Or the ride, to the destination. Once you've picked them up, I've had that with Lyft where I'm like, oh, it's going to be and then I look at it, I'm like, oh, fuck, it's like 3 miles longer than what they said.
Yeah, their estimates are not the greatest for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay. This next story, Lyft is going to be welcoming crypto ads. They're partnering with a company called Polkadot Crypto. So they're going to be introducing crypto ads that will actually run in the passenger app. They said they've tested it out in a few markets and they're really happy so far with the results from the ads. And it's going to be a short ad, and it's going to have a link to like a 15-minute long video that kind of explains how crypto works for people who don't know how crypto works. But I'm sure this is something we're going to see more and more. I know Uber has talked about their advertising within the passenger app. Lyft is obviously getting into advertising. It's just another way of them to try to get another income stream to be profitable, and put another product there in front of their customers, I guess.
Well, I've had a customer on a ride and he complained. He said, it used to be a lot simpler and a lot more. It was just easy for me to just order a ride. And now I have all this bullshit on my screen that I can't get off, and I can't figure out how to get rid of it. And he's like, I don't need to see this. I just need to know if someone's coming to get me and that he's dropping me off. And I was like, I don't order a lot of rides. I've not seen it. on my app when I order a ride for my daughter, so I didn't really know what to say to him. But I was like, oh, there should be, something where you can click. And he was like, no, like I've looked, like I just shut the whole damn app down. And I was like, well, you're in your ride. You're good. You're on your way.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't take very many Uber or Lyft rides personally, as I think a lot of us don't. So we don't always know what's going on with the passenger app. I wish there was a way, for drivers could go through the process of like you're doing a ride and show you all of it, to show, any kind of updates that they've done, instead of, having to go out and just take a ride, just for research, pay for that. You think there'd be some kind of a simulator, something they could provide to us, that would let us see all that and how everything's working, because it changes so much. People ask me sometimes, how do I do this? I was like, what, they changed the app so much. I used to, I'm not sure how you or where to do that. Usually you can figure it out. It's usually not that hard, but as far as, it used to be over here on this screen. Now it's over here on this other screen. You have to do 3 clicks where it used to be, 1 click, and they're always doing stuff.
Well, and I think it's good for, people, because I've had people that are like, well, I needed to change, but the driver said he had to take me to where it said. And I go, well, you can change it in the app. And they're like, how do you do that? And I'm like, well, go down to add or edit and, change it that way and, put it on there. Yeah. Yeah. I love it when I get the people, and this happens several times. You'll get people, they're like, oh, we need to add a stop. Is that okay if I add a stop? Well, yeah, that's fine. And they'll mean to add the stop in the middle, but they'll add the stop as a stop after their destination. So like it's still taking me to their house first. And I'm like, nope, that's not quite right. Something's wrong. You have to delete that. And, you're driving, so you can't be fiddling with their phone and trying to do it for them a lot of times. So you're like, no, there should be a way to put a stop in the middle, in the middle there. And, sometimes they can get it, sometimes they can't. I'll usually just I'll usually, take them to the stop and then to their house anyway. Whatever, you're getting paid by the mile. So, I'm not too worried. I'll say, just put it as your destination. When we get closer, change it to your next one. I've
done that as well. Yeah. I'm like, just put that, change your destination to that. And then when we get there, we'll figure it out from there. And at least that way, especially if you don't know exactly where you're going on that stop, that way the GPS will update and show you where you need to go.
Yeah. If you're not familiar with it.
Yeah. Let's see. Probably the last thing we're going to talk about here, throw this up and see if anybody's gotten this or experienced it. We had one of our listeners that's in our Telegram group talk about this updated or enhanced criminal report. Gabe, have you gotten a notice about this?
So I have not gotten that. But what she said, where's she from? Vegas, right? Vegas. Yes. Yep. She said it included federal and county, which I went back and I looked at all of mine, and mine all included federal and county. So I don't know if they've just fancied up their email that they send out to everybody to make it look like they're doing their due diligence. But we were talking before the show about it, and mine's always had federal and county.
Yeah. I wonder if it's, every state does everything. It seems different as far as what the requirements are for you to drive for ride share, and, what kind of inspections or whatever you might need. So this is just something that's changed recently in certain parts of the country.
Yeah.
But I'll be interested to see the next time I get a background check done on, by Uber, to see if it's any different.
I think mine is December is my next one. Should be around.
Yeah. I don't even know. I don't keep up with it too much.
I just went back in my email and was looking for when they sent me the notification
from last. Yeah. Only thing I know, I do have to buy a new phone sometime next month, because Lyft is telling me that it's not going to work on my iPhone 7 anymore after next month.
They're about to kick you off the platform.
That's what they said. Yeah. They're like I think it's August 14th. It's no longer going to run on that iOS. I have to have one that runs the newer iOS. And for some reason, the iPhone 7 is just not quite cutting it, even though the phone works fine, because all I use it for is rideshare. It stays in the car. I don't do anything else with it. So I don't need anything fancy. I do have like the big iPhone, just make it easier to see. But I'm thinking about trying out an Android for the very first time.
You should do a tablet. If all you use it for, add a tablet on. It's like what, $10 more a month for like the just if it's just for ride share.
That's all I use it for.
Yeah, and then you can have your phone number as your phone number so that the calls go to your phone.
Yeah.
But like for navigation purposes and accepting and declining the rides, use a tablet.
Yeah, I think you're saying that I'm old. I can't see. I need a big ass tablet.
Hey, I use a 10-inch tablet, and I will tell you, I get compliments I've been using a tablet now for 6 years, and I get compliments because I started using a tablet, back when there was a problem with drivers and women and male drivers not going the routes that they should and safety reasons. And I was like, you know what? It is right there for everyone to see. If someone has a problem with the route that I'm going, or they want me to take, anybody can see where they're going so they can speak up. And that's why I started. But now I'm like, I can see more of the map.
Yeah.
So, that's why I prefer using the tablet.
Yeah. I might have to test that out. Anyway, before we get off here, I just want to say hi to everybody who tuned in tonight. Pete, want to say hi. Yeah, I see your comment. Pete comes from Grand Rapids. Pete comes from Grand Rapids when he remembers when the picnic is.
and he said the karaoke driver was cute.
Oh, okay. Hey, when we have her on the show, man, we'll hook you up. Hook a brother up, man. Say hi to Janet, definitely. Thanks to Steve, who was in early. He had to run off. Everybody else who tuned in tonight, we appreciate it. Appreciate you putting up with me being a little slow on the draw here, trying to work the commands for the first time. But thanks so much for tuning in. And do you remember? Do you know the sign off? You got the second part of the sign off?
Yes.
Okay, so thanks again, and everybody, and be sure don't put up with anybody's bullshit.
And we'll see you on the road.
This podcast is produced and edited by Hey Guys Media Group. Want to start a podcast? Check out heyguysmediagroup.com.